Pavestone paving stones come in a number of shapes and colors for a variety of design possibilities. They are stronger and more durable than either poured concrete or asphalt, and are the ideal surface for a patio, walkway, driveway, or swimming pool deck. Today, we will demonstrate how to create a home patio. But before we begin, we're going to need a few things. Gloves and safety glasses, a wheelbarrow, one straight 8-foot-long yellow pine 2x4, a sledgehammer or a heavy rubber or plastic mallet, a shovel and a spade, 2 8-foot lengths of 1 or 3/4-inch steel electrical conduit pipe, a nylon mason string, 2 long tape measures, a broom, a carpenter's chalk line, a rake, a line level that you can clip to a string, a pick if your ground is hard, a grease pencil, aluminum or plastic edging, 8-inch landscape nails, a gas-powered plate compactor, a rototiller, a guillotine stone cutter or masonry saw, and wooden or metal stakes. A cubic yard of very coarse concrete sand for every 200 square feet of project area, or 3 half-cubic foot bags for every 10 feet. If you're installing a surface that'll be driven over, such as a driveway, or you have poor soil conditions, you will need 1 cubic yard of crushed limestone or pavestone paver base for every 80 square feet of project area. If you're installing a patio, pedestrian walkway, or any surface that won't be driven over, you will need 1 94-pound bag of Portland cement for each 30 square feet of the project area. There are basically 8 steps to install paving stones. 1. Site preparation. 2. Excavating. 3. Installing the base. 4. Screeding the sand bed. 5. Laying the paving stones. 6. Cutting the paving stones. 7. Installing the edge restraints. And 8. Compacting and finishing. This project is a freestanding circular patio. To begin building this project, you'll want to take a can of spray paint and draw to the best of your ability the perimeter of the project on the ground. We want to lay out the patio design and determine the finished height. Determine in what direction you want the pavers to lay in the finished project and run a string line across the middle of the project in that direction. Then place another string line at a 90-degree angle, again passing through the larger part of the project, forming a cross. From the intersection of the 2 string lines, make a mark 3 feet out from the intersection on the width line. On the length line, make a mark 4 feet from the intersection. Now, measure the distance diagonally from the 3 and 4 foot marks. For the angle at the corner to be 90 degrees, the diagonal must be exactly 5 feet long. If not, adjust the angle of the width line until the diagonal is 5 feet. If your project is a rectangular patio, begin by spray painting a rectangle on the ground to approximate the project's finished dimensions. Place stakes in each of the 4 corners. For accurate stone laying, it's very important that the sides of the rectangle are parallel and that each corner is a 90-degree right angle. You can make accurate 90-degree angles using the 3-4-5 triangle method as we just described. However, you want to measure the angle from a corner of the project, staking the string line out in 2 directions. For more detail on rectangular patios, see the installation information on the Pavestone CD. Now, let's get back to our circular patio. With the project area staked and marked, the next step is to establish the height of the paving stones. The height should be slightly above the surrounding ground and sloped so rainwater will drain away from the house. To establish an adequate slope, use the line level. Start at a stake and begin by tying a string at the level you want the paving stone height to be. Set the level of the string by using the line level on the string line. Adjust the string on the outer stake until it is level. Now, to establish a slope, simply calculate a fall of 1 inch for every 8 feet. A patio that runs 16 feet out from the side of the house will have a slope of 2 inches. So just lower the string level on the outer stake 2 inches. Repeat with the other string line going away from the house. With the project area marked out, you are now ready to excavate. Dig out the project area to the proper depth plus another 6 inches past the string lines. For a patio, dig out a depth of 3.5 inches down from the height of the string lines. If the surface you are excavating is grass, use a spade or a sod cutter to remove the sod, but don't throw it away because you'll want to use it to re-sod the edge around the paving stones when the job is complete. So just roll it up and store it in a cool, damp place to keep it moist. Use a shovel to remove the rest of the soil once the sod is removed. You may have to use a pick to loosen the dirt if the ground is hard. Check your depth regularly using a measuring tape against the string lines and additional cross lines. You want to dig out a rough depth that comes to within 1 inch of the final depth. For areas with poor or wet soil conditions, heavy clay, or extremely cold climates, remove the native soil to a depth of 7 inches. Now you're ready to install the Pavestone paver base. Be sure to take your time to get it right. A well-prepared base is the secret to a beautiful and long-lasting patio. Please do not skip this step and lay pavers over native soil. Generally, 4 inches of a well-compacted paver base should be all you need. However, keep in mind that soils vary from region to region. Consult with your local Pavestone authorized distributor to determine the best type of base material for where you live. We will use the cement stabilization method today, which involves chilling Portland cement into the existing soil. After the soil and Portland cement are tilled together, use a vibrating plate compactor to tamp down the base. If the project area is small, you could use a hand tamp. However, we strongly recommend renting a plate compactor because you will also want to pack down the paving stones once they have been placed. When the base is compacted, lightly wet it so that it becomes rigid. Make sure that the compacting is complete. The final step in preparing the base is to make absolutely sure that it is flat and that the slope is consistent. Your finished paving stone surface will conform to the base exactly, exposing every dip and rise, so it's important to get it level. Before you can set the paving stones, you must cover the base with an even layer of paver sand. Take 2 1-inch or 3/4 inch steel conduit pipes and set them on the base about 6 feet apart, making sure that they are parallel to each other. Shovel some coarse paver sand between the pipes. Level out the sand by screeding it back and forth with an 8-foot 2x4 until it is smooth and flat. Lift out the pipes and carefully fill in and screed the gaps. You will work the project area 1 square section at a time, first screeding the sand bed, and then laying the stones on it before moving on to the next section. Be careful not to walk on or make any impressions on the screeded sand as you work. Before we move on, a couple of things. If you are laying paving stones next to an existing concrete surface, you should lay the sand so that it is exactly 2 1/8 inches below that concrete surface. A good way to do this is to cut a 2 1/8 inch notch out of your 2x4 so that when you screed next to the concrete surface, the 2x4 will screed the sand 2 1/8 inches from the top of the concrete. You can check the sand height as you go by setting a paving stone next to the concrete. It should stand 1/4 of an inch above the concrete surface, because when it is compacted, the paving stone will drop exactly 1/4 inch on the 1-inch bed of coarse sand you just screeded. For a square or rectangular project, start laying your paving stones in the sand, first starting in your square corner and working your way outward into the project area in a triangular direction. Make sure to lay your border stones first. Since our rounded project is freestanding and not up against your house or a sidewalk, we will lay out in a triangular direction from a starting point at one edge of our project. Lay your stones one by one, sliding each new paving stone straight down onto the sand against the paving stone you have just laid. Be careful not to slide the paving stones across the sand into place, or you will ruin the smooth bed you just created, and they will not fit snug to one another. To nudge the paving stones tighter together, gently tap them with the handle of a hammer or with a rubber mallet. Never stomp a paver into place. Continue to lay pavers outward, filling in a triangular direction from your starting point. If, after laying some stones, you find that they are not aligning correctly, stop and find out what the problem is before continuing. Once you get all the paving stones in place, you may find that some may need to be cut to form a straight line or curve. To determine where to cut the stone, set the full stone in place, and then use a grease pencil and straight edge to mark the cutting line on top of the paving stone. Carefully remove the stone once it's marked. You can use a guillotine cutter for simple straight cuts, but for angles and overall better results, we recommend a masonry saw with a diamond-tipped blade. A masonry saw is easy to use and makes smooth and accurate cuts. No matter which cutter you use, always wear gloves and safety goggles. Once your paving stones are set, it's time to install an edge restraint to keep them in place. The two most common types of edge restraints are aluminum edging and plastic edging for pedestrian traffic. We highly recommend that you use aluminum edging. Aluminum restraints are lightweight, easy to use, flexible, and they do not warp over time. Use landscape nails to nail down the aluminum edging along all the exposed sides of your paving stone project. For driveways, it's recommended to install a concrete toe with 3/4-inch rebar on all exposed sides. After all the paving stones are cut and set in place, use a flat shovel to dig a trench around the edge of your newly laid stones. Dig straight down 2 to 4 inches below the bottom of the paving stones and out from the edge of the stones 4 to 5 inches. Be careful not to move or in any way disturb the paving stones. Next, shovel a thick mixture of concrete into the trench and smooth halfway up the paving stones at a 45-degree angle as shown. That's all there is to it. Your paving stones are set. It's time to finish the job by setting the paving stones firmly into place with the vibrating plate compactor. This is the most critical step to locking your stones in place. Spread a light layer of Pavestone paver sand over the surface of your project. Then, just as if you are mowing a lawn, make one pass over the entire project area. Use a rubber mallet and a wood block to set the areas you can't reach with the compactor. Next, sweep paver sand into the gaps between the paving stones and run the compactor over them one last time, sweeping more paver sand into any joints as needed. Be sure to keep extra sand from your project. After a few rainstorms, the sand in the joints will pack down and you may need to refill the gaps. Congratulations! You just completed a valuable landscape improvement to your home. Now you can step back and enjoy your accomplishment with the personal satisfaction of having created a beautiful outdoor environment that is uniquely yours, easy to maintain, and one that you, your family, and friends will enjoy for years to come.